Speaker Insight page. I'm just going to do a refresh on the page. Kelly's looking down there. I'm Helena. That's Kelly. We are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a business on your terms. And we're hoping that we've managed to switch. We are live. Hurrah! Well, that is fantastic. So Kelly's kind of just going to hopefully share out a couple of things. We don't quite know how this works or how this activity goes.
Guys, we're working this way because of remote working. We normally use our preferred platform, Zoom. What happened at 1 o'clock was we got this lovely error message from Facebook on Zoom saying, yeah, we're having trouble at the moment, probably because the whole world is using Zoom.
Which is always a kind of fun thing. So
we're using this, just for anyone to be aware, we're using BeLive TV, BeLive.tv. Oh, yeah. And it looks like I've got captions coming up on the screen, which is very interesting.
So this is how to pivot your plan and learn on the go, which is good. So I think we've both been guests on a BeLive TV, but we've never actively kind of run anything through this. So far, so easy, actually. So a big thumbs up on that one. And hello. Oh, there we go. And I've got some comments coming along from Andrea. So people are obviously able to join in, which is great.
Perfect. Good stuff.
In that case, we apologise for our slight tardiness. Maybe you've got an extended lunch break today, but we'll talk more about this in this particular live. So obviously, we would still love to hear the buzz in your business. We always begin with the buzz in your business. And for those of you who are new to that, what's intriguing, exciting, inspiring? What have you learned? What are you doing? How are you getting on? We'd love to hear that in the comments. Kelly's obviously got her laptop out. I can do comments here in the side, so it's all good. And I don't know whether you'll be able to share this out from where you are. I'm assuming that you can.
Yeah, it's all shareable. It's all good, it looks like.
That's really good. So in that case, so the buzz in our business is that we have been doing loads of training for people. We have actively been running, sharing out resources, doing some training on how to deliver digitally every single day, pretty much inside the Connection Hub, which is the group that all of the speakers, authors, and coaches that we serve hang out in, but communicate in. And there's been a lot of activity in there in the last week or so, as you can well imagine, and really great conversations around how do I do this? What do I actually do? People asking for what they need, and really recognizing that they are pivoting in some way, sharing opportunities for speaking virtually, etc., etc. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in there that are kind of in two parts, learning and opportunity led in some way. So that's really great. We also started inside, I'll read out yours in a second, Andrea, that's brilliant. So we also started our weekly, we have a membership called Changemaker Central, where, you know, change makers come to really be supported to get their businesses out there in the world. And we started our weekly human connection and ask us anything session yesterday, which went really well. And yeah, everybody learned from each other, but more importantly, there was a chance to connect with like-minded, like-valued people. And that's really some of the things that we're going to be talking about today as well. And most importantly, or frighteningly, maybe, we finished our chatbot training. So you need to watch out for how we implement that over the next little while, because we are both very excited about that.
So I'm going to what Andrea said as well, Hunter.
Please,
she just said, the buzz in her business is another webinar commissioned this morning by a client who wants to transfer my Stay Safe, Stay Sane campaign into their company brand to distribute to 150 staff to help them stay safe and stay sane during this turbulent time. So Andrea has been on an absolute mission to go digitally over the last month. So we're really proud of you, hon.
Really proud of you, partly because really when we shook the words go digital at her, possibly even 3 months ago, she was going, no, but actually to have the attitude of, I'm going to nail this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to support people, to really have that and do whatever it takes is kind of what's required at the moment, I feel.
Definitely.
I feel. So you're a brilliant example of that, which is great. So the other thing is that, you know, there are some really interesting common messages that are starting to come around. There are some words that we are hearing a lot more that we never used to hear. Words like unprecedented. You know, that seems to be a word that is now commonplace, which is an oxymoron as far as I'm concerned. I know, right? Unprecedented.
I think all the politicians are playing like that pub bingo thing. Every time
Bingo
someone
quiz.
says it, they like get extra points or can drink extra pints. It's like everyone
Yes,
says that
indeed.
word.
But one of the ones, you know, sort of, and it is, you know, this is a time to go into opportunity or into fear, and we know what we're choosing and helping you choose as much as possible. So the term that we're actually hearing more is, how do I learn to pivot? And that's been the real catchphrase for a lot of business owners, because they are literally, over the last, you know, few weeks, you're in different circumstances. And what we're finding is that whilst that's a great thing to say, how to do it is actually kind of where people get stuck. It's like, okay, so I know I need to change, but help. What does that actually mean? So today, that's what we're actually going to help you do: get your juices flowing, stimulate your brains, give you some ideas that you can borrow and modify.
And I think when we were talking on our call yesterday with our change makers, is that it's apparent for a lot of people, especially speakers and trainers themselves, that what you used to offer might not be possible at this time. I know there was someone like Nell that was talking about it in the Connection Hub, that she's a physiotherapist. And so some things aren't just possible to deliver right now. And also, what you have been offering might not also be what your client and your avatar needs right now. Lots of people's needs have shifted. Now, this live that we're going to talk to you about are the people that are, as Helena said, wanting to pivot but not knowing how. I completely hold my hands up to you guys, of those who aren't in this stage of, oh my God, what do I do? Because you've been preparing for this. You've been moving your stuff digitally online, just like 60% of our business is online. So we're actually thriving in these times. So completely hats off to you guys, but still stay tuned, because there might be some ways for you to enhance that and increase your portfolio of your business. But what we really want to do is help those people that feel stuck right now, that go, I want to pivot, but I just can't think what to do. So the first thing is don't try and just push what you've already got created, because it might not be what they want and it might not be what they need right now. We were having this conversation yesterday with our change makers, and especially this is for you if you're in the corporate space. My first point of call for you is to not go and find new clients and offer new services. The corporate clients that we have, what we're finding is that they are being blinded at the moment by their chaos. If you were somebody that they've never met before, a new person coming onto their radar is just, they haven't got the headspace for that. Even if it's the best thing since sliced bread that you've got to offer them, that's not where they want to be doing, is building new relationships. So my advice for you, if you are in the corporate space, is to go back to your previous clients, go back to your current clients, people that know, like, and trust you already, and spark up that conversation. Ask them, you know, what do they need right now, right? You might have finished the program with them 2 years ago, but you've got those results. They know that you're the best person to get the results from where they need. Just pick up the phone. Do not email people. People have not got time for this. Make the personal connection. Pick up the phone and ask them what they need. And maybe some of them don't even know what they need. But what you can do is have that conversation with them about, so what's changed? How are you managing to get through this? What support's out there? Do you know what resources or support that you need to navigate this difference? And be there as the guiding light for these people, because they are, as I said, blinded by this chaos, that they actually need somebody to go, follow me, listen to me, I know the way, I'm calm, I've done this before, listen to my voice. You're going to say, Helena?
Yeah, and part of that, I think, is also being able to adjust your expectations of them. So they may not be behaving as they used to behave. You may need to meet them at a slightly different level to where they're at, because confusion can fog things over. Confusion can actually mean that they're willing to have a solution, but they just don't know where to look for that. So part of it is actually not assuming that they know anything. So for example, I was in a client meeting the other day, and we actively spent a good 10 minutes simply going through the software that we were using before we got anywhere near the "and how are you doing?" And then we actively got to the piece that we were doing. So budget in time and energy for meeting people where they're at, which is not where they're usually at. So sometimes you may need to you know, go back a couple of steps and not make assumptions about where they're at. Ask, and ask again.
And so that's the corporate market, right? If you don't try and find the new people first, go back to people that know, like, and trust you, do that discovery, that personal picking up the phone discovery with them, and see what can be the next step, and have some things in mind ready to suggest, so that you're not just completely on the hoof, but also be actively listening to, not just trying to tunnel vision down this route, which is where you want them to go. This is your time to really listen and respond. But this is also really important if you've got the B2C market, because this is the question, what do you need right now, is the question that you should be asking to your audience, your avatar. And obviously the same rule applies. They're going to like and trust you more if they've had interaction with you. But there are also people Googling and asking for lots of new resources from people that they've never experienced before. So I really encourage you to put a poll up in your Facebook group and ask people what are their needs. Put some suggestions up there, but allow them to add more suggestions. I always say, if you have got your one-to-one clients or your VIP clients, as we call them, get on the phone with them, whether that's one-to-one, whether that's holding a group call with your you know, a cohort that you've been working with, a group coaching cohort. Just find out, do some explorative work, because not only is this going to remind your clients about you if you haven't had interactions with them for a while, not only is it going to basically show that you care, even after you've worked with them years and years ago, you still remember them, you're still here to support them as their needs have now changed. But that call is going to give you valuable insight into the content and the problems that they're now needing support with, so that then you can use this information to pivot and to potentially create a new product or service to support their needs right now.
Yeah, and when we say create, you know, don't go into a big song and dance about, oh my word, have I really got the space and time for that? But when we say create, we potentially just mean pull together something from what you've already got and pull that together. So you need to be starting to think about creatively, what can you create and produce? What services are the responses that are appropriate at this time? And it may actually be a product that isn't in existence in 6 months' time, because actually, you know, as the world starts to accommodate it, but right now it's absolutely needed. So, you know, last week Kelly and I ran a how to run Zoom meetings, ironically.
I'll put the link in the comments.
Yeah, and so, you know, that wasn't anywhere near our sphere, but it was definitely in our wheelhouse because we're users of it. And as leaders, we stepped up and said, you know, actually, so maybe we're not the fullest experts on Zoom, but we use it a lot and we can actively do a lot of it. And from what I've seen, it's been very appreciated. So, you know, so
we've had over 4,000 people watch that video, and we've had great feedback saying it was so practical, and even though it was an hour and a half, it basically covered everything that they need to cover in detail. And I know that everyone's loving the post in the Connection Hub about the virtual backgrounds that Shutterstock are now giving. And so, you know, please do make sure that you're in our Connection Hub so that you get this valuable insight that all of our members and we share on a regular basis.
Yeah, you know, so here's the thing. In that market, you need to respond to things, and obviously doing that digitally, delivering your stuff digitally is the way to go. So what does that actively look like? That looks like things like creating online courses, short ones potentially right now, so that, you know, because actually remember, focus fans are definitely sort of shorter than normally, you know, sort of like, so don't go all out. Oh yes, it's time to create my flagship course, which is 8 hours long. Don't do that. Like, do the short, sharp, sweet kind of online courses, online group trainings and workshops. You know, how do you pivot the things that you normally do and create that into something that you can deliver digitally? Webinars, actual information webinars about the product or the service or the skill that you currently have that would be helpful and beneficial to others. You know, start to actively increase your reach with those webinars, because people need what you have. So start to have that as a mindset and go, so what have I got at the moment that people actively need? And indeed, as Kelly was saying, hopefully you've asked the question, are actively asking for, right? You've done some of the research around that. for some of you, it's also around, you know, the delivering digitally via membership sites. For some of you, you may have been thinking about doing a membership site for a very long time, and now might be the perfect time to actively pull what you have into one space, and to start delivering it in that way. The other thing is, and for most of you, this is possibly where you'll start if you haven't been delivering digitally at all, or if you've just been doing a little bit. You might start to do your one-to-one consultations, your coaching, your even the meetings that you have with you know, with your external partners in some way. All of that starts to happen on a one-to-one basis, but through a medium like this. Now, I'm absolutely convinced that we, bearing in mind, so it's not necessarily going to feel like this to all of you, but for most of us who are in this entrepreneurial world or the small business owner world, believe it or not, you are more agile, more open, and more versatile than many people at the moment. So it's a version of what Kelly was saying, because you are already used to being online or being seen or experimenting with video in some way. So you don't necessarily have any of the, oh my God, I'm going to be on video. 10 years ago, I used to literally put video conferencing in when FaceTime wasn't available and Skype was a thing that was an idea in somebody's mind, and helping people actively, you know, combat the seeing themselves element. All of the things that you now take for granted, they are probably going through. So your one-to-one consultancy is potentially, over the next little while, going to become much easier for you to deliver in the longer term, because people will be used to this as a medium. But your job at the moment is to go, what of my one-to-one services can I transfer online, and what will it take to do that? So what do I need to set up? What communication do I need to put in place? Where do I need to focus my attention? And you know, it might even be rejigging the services page on your website so that it accommodates that. So there are a bunch of things that you need to be thinking about that allow you to continue the services that you are doing, albeit in a slightly different way. And of course, the final piece is, and this is exactly what Kelly was just saying earlier, you are very likely to be the person that ends up facilitating meetings, even if you never did before, because you are likely to be the person that actively brings people together and holds a virtual space for them to do the remote working that they are actively doing. So, you know, it's really important that you start by doing this. Look at the list of things that you actively do. Imagine that your list of services and products is a Chinese menu, and, you know, sort of like a takeaway menu in some way. And you start to look at them and you go, yes, this will still work. I need to repurpose it in this way. Yes, this will actually work. I need to repurpose it in this way. Or this is the communication I now need to put out about this one. So take a good step back, look at what actively can you repurpose to deliver digitally, and what can't you? It is really important that you understand that not everything you deliver currently can be modified and delivered with a tiny tweak or two. Some of it, you may, you know, I normally run a VIP day for people. That's now being split into 3 2-hour sessions. So it can be modified, but some things are going to be impossible for you to run. So accept that and go, what can I change?
And I think this is just, I'm going to read Andrea's comment out as well, but just to add to this is also a time where you can actually start working a lot more collaboratively with people. So in another addition to these things, what you have control over is I'm seeing a lot more online summits come up, right? Where lots of bodies and heads are coming together on a specific theme. And this is something else to maybe you might have thought of doing it later in the year, but actually online summits is something which takes some time to prepare. But because there are multiple ones of you with lots of different information coming together, then it's also another thing to consider as an added product to your range. And we do have a Facebook Live training on how to run online summits. So I can put that in the comments in a minute. But I just wanted to add that one to the mix because I've seen a lot more of them pop up recently.
And it's a really juicy way. Yes, do share Andrea's.
Andrea's saying, I know my avatar is generally corporate, but I'm intending to do a mini pack that I can sell B2C as my topic is relevant to everyone right now. Plus, you never know who might pick it up during the chaos, who's in corporate role and the madness is over. I'm thinking of developing reputation and known for as potential investment for the future. Definitely. I mean, lots of people watching this, I'm sure you have multiple avatars, and it's just the messaging that goes behind it and the way that it's delivered or marketed is different. But the core messaging is normally transparent and transferable across both. So I've seen lots of people do that, Andrea. So it's, you know, great. We purpose the hell out of what we can to get as much information in people's hands as possible at the moment.
And what I will say is this, you know, don't do any panic buying. And what I mean by that is that if you see a virtual summit that sounds like shiny object syndrome, what? You see, we can still have fun even though we're in different houses. So what I mean by that is that if you see the look of something that you like the look of, or someone makes an invitation to join you on a particular virtual summit, etc., then by all means evaluate it the way that you normally would, but also in light of what can I deliver? What is my avatar asking for? Is it appropriate for me to be seen by this audience? You know, when someone looks back over my history, does it still, do I still present a consistent pattern of who I am and what I'm known for, exactly as Andrea was just saying? So is it aligned to say yes to the things? So don't just jump on opportunities, actively evaluate them nonetheless. Sorry, then that's me off my soapbox now. You go.
Yeah, so basically what I think, I'm going to put a little link comment in here, which is quite a long comment, but one of the things...
Hang on a minute. Wait, I do just need to say this. So Andrea said webcam, that was a panic buy, but I don't think she meant a panic buy in the way that I was just talking about. I think she meant that was a, oh my goodness me, I bought a webcam and I'm getting ready for it.
So and nicely lead in there, Andrea. One of the things when you are pivoting your plan, you need to be thinking about what other tools, resources and equipment are you going to need to deliver at home. So a webcam, which Andrea asked us for what spec to buy, that's one of her purchases. So I've just put in the comments here about various different things to be thinking about. Oh, there, thanks. By my Debbie McGee modelled. About different apps and software that you can use to manage your team, to deliver virtually, to keep connected, so that you can actually look at all of them to see, okay, what will help me pivot my plan if I'm stuck at home having to deliver. So that's one thing for all of you to consider, is the tools and resources. Now I want to speak specifically to the speakers and trainers, because you guys predominantly are very used to delivering live events, right? So therefore, you know, I have a speaker agency. We've been hit very badly with all of our speaker events being cancelled. And so we're having to do the same as what you're doing, is thinking differently and pivoting. Now, one of the things that I would highly suggest that I'm really pleased to be seeing, and I think somebody posted about this in the hub this morning, even about how many corporates and events are changing really rapidly. They're going online, they're delivering digitally, they're saying, okay, we know that we still need to do this training, let's see how we can do it differently. So I'm really pleased about that. However, this is my big warning to speakers and trainers out there. If your event is still saying, let's go ahead, let's do it differently, and maybe you've swatted up on our Zoom training and you understand how to do breakout rooms and blah, 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 I would highly advise you that you think about this and maybe you look at some training on how to upskill as a facilitator, because you cannot just rock up with your keynote or your training and deliver it as you would have done in the room. The skill, the art of being a facilitator needs to be implemented when you're a speaker or a trainer delivering online. And I know we have some skilled people in here who do that. But this means your content, and Helene has already alluded to it with her one-to-one sessions, it needs to be, one, broken down, like no longer than 90-minute chunks, breaks in between, but there needs to be an increased level of interactivity, increased level of exercises and engagement to keep people stimulated and there and present and processing the information in bite-sized chunks.
Which actively means that you can teach less. So you need to accommodate the fact that really in a 90-minute session, you're probably teaching one thing and one thing only.
Yeah. So I just don't want the speakers and trainers to go, oh yeah, they've turned the event online, and you just think you're just having to press the Zoom button, go live, and deliver what you were expecting to deliver before. We need to then work out how to convert your training to the different methodology of delivering. And one of my top tips is, if you are going to do this, is I would highly suggest that everybody who's delivering has a co-facilitator. This is not a co-presenter. The co-facilitator might not even be seen, but that person can be in the online with you, not in the room with you, but in the virtual room with you, managing your time, managing the questions, managing the tech, all the things that could go wrong. It's like having that AV person, that moderator in the room with you. But you need to be as present as you can to be able to read the room digitally, to be able to be picking up on energy levels, to change your content to adjust their learning style. And if you're also trying to manage tech and all those types of things at the same time, you're not present.
Yeah, think of it as having a producer. So sort of like, so where you would normally deliver on your own, you actively need to get to the stage where you are delivering. And you have a producer that is literally choosing the camera shots or running the slides for you in that way, so that you can actively stay present. Now, that's an interesting one around who is your person to do that, and what do you actively sort of do. So I refer you to last week's actual interview with Matthew Hughes, just around live streaming and having a producer. So you want to be starting to think about even your training as an event that has more than one person delivering, because you want to be able to be as present as possible for the people that you're working with.
And we've been asked the question about, oh, well, if I'm delivering digitally, should my speaking and training costs go down because I'm not traveling and blah, blah, blah? In my opinion, no, right? Because when I price things up, the creation of the training is part of the cost. Yes, the travel expenses are normally on top of that, but I would say you'd need to be paying for a co-facilitator to do this with you. So actually it might even be more expensive, if not exactly the same, because there might not be as much travel time involved, but you are actually having to pay this person to make sure that it runs really smoothly. So just keep that in mind.
And again, as Kelly said, people are pivoting in terms of their mindset around what is possible. So don't go to the discounted version straight away, because actually every style of delivery has its own value, and delivering digitally can absolutely allow them to have an even more effective meeting in some ways, but also recorded versions, and it allows people to actively go back and pick up on things that they may have forgotten and not got done 6 months later, for example.
And that's a really important point. We've had people that we've done training before and gone, we love the live element, but actually, because I've got the recording, I can do exactly what Helena said, and I've actually got some time to go back and revisit that. When you're in the live room, and whatever you take down notes wise is what you've got, okay? But as your speaker trainer, again, we need to adjust our contracts. Is what can they do with the recording? Because obviously, if you were doing this to an SLT board member, 6 of them, but then they thought this was great training, and then they sent it out to their 10,000 employees, well, hang on a minute, that's what you would normally have done as a follow-up training. So contracts are also really important. Is it filmed? How are they getting added value because they get the access to the recording, if they do? But if they do, who gets access to that recording? And that's all needs to be contracted up.
Yeah, completely. So Barry's agreeing with that, and hadn't necessarily kind of accommodated it in that way, which is really good. We've got Menika here, we've got Dawn here, so just saying hi. So there's a lot to be thinking about around how you position yourself and what you're presenting. But the bit that I also want to really invite you to be thinking about is, as well as doing all this work, and it does sound like it's a lot of work, one of the other things that we are hearing a lot in this chaotic, kind of changing, disruptive time is really to get grounded and begin to put in the structures that work for you in this new age, so to speak. Because you are high. So here are 2 of the things that I've heard quite a lot. One, oh my God, I've been in back-to-back meetings and I haven't even, like Zoom meetings, and I haven't even managed to eat. Like, you know, I've got things to say about that. But anyway, the second piece is I'm exhausted at the end of this day. So the two things there are, the one, I'm exhausted is because you are doing things really differently and you are thinking about pivoting and changing and moving things. And that's taking a lot more energy and brain power for you. You are also, and when I'm saying you, I am doing the collective you. You can recognize yourself in whatever this is. I'm not speaking specifically to individuals, but I am sure that you are recognizing that some of this is coming on. Bearing in mind that, you know, you've probably been working in this way, working from home in this way for about a week to 10 days, depending on where you're actually at with self-isolation and lockdown, etc., depending on where you are in the world. So please be patient with yourself and caring of yourself. And so for that reason, I want to highlight that, you know, you may be tired because you haven't stopped to rearrange how the routine of your week actually goes. You may not have thought about how your rhythm is actively being impacted. And I'm sorry, I was completely distracted. A bunny literally just ran past my window. Sorry about that.
Like the Easter bunny.
The Easter bunny, in which case I'm off. Kelly, you're on for the rest of it. Sorry about that. Right, okay, good. Consummate professional that I am. Right, okay, good. I thought you'd enjoy a little bit of Hampshire kind of sunshine coming at you. So the thing about this is we want you to work on your terms. And this allows you to almost, I mean, what if you use this as a way to literally change how you're doing what you're doing and experimented with new rhythms that work for you. Some of that is,
and those rhythms have to encompass, like many of us, right? It's Easter holidays now.
That's
well,
right.
For my daughter, it's tomorrow. So we've got, you know, dog not going to daycare because that's not happening. Everyone working from home in different rooms. So that you're also managing that additional side of things as well as working differently. So, you know, as Helena said, just be really gentle with yourself and be kind.
Yeah, patient, kind, and generous are three of the things that I would love for you to be. So apparently the bunny interlude was good.
Yeah,
we'll see if I can snap a photo later. Right, so here's what I want you to be doing. Here's how you can put that into practice. So I don't just want to leave you hanging and go, well, what does that mean for my week? I want you to be thinking about putting specific hours in. So for my clients, I've actually started doing the working hour, where you are working together collaboratively with others. What I mean by that is, sorry, not collaboratively, where you are working in the same room as others, almost like having the virtual workplace where everybody is heads down working on what they're working on, but they come together at the beginning and go, this is what I'm working on. And they come together at the end and they go, this is what I got done. Absolutely brilliant. So it's like a mini version of the Connect and Create days that Kelly and I actively run in person. We managed to squeeze one of those in literally 2 days before the sort of lockdown started coming into play. So I was quite pleased about that. And that was a sort of, interestingly, that was a half and half meeting. So several people joined us and did some work alongs in this way. So
but you've been using Zoom to run those work with. So just tell people, I know that we're running in Changemaker too, but people would just choose their peers, they'd log on, they'd state at the beginning of that hour what they're wanting to work and what they want to get done. And then you just leave your Zoom going so that, you know, you can see everybody, but that doesn't mean that people are talking all the time. You might want to ask a question every now and again or whatever it might be, but it's just the focus time, isn't it, to work?
And that's exactly it. And so the big thing around this is that, and that's the key word there, is what are you focused on? So your working hour could be the 1 or 2 hours that you set aside. So you could do this as a working hour with other people, and you actively need to put into every single day at least 1 hour to 90 minutes of you working on your business. And what we mean by that is creating those products, creating the handouts for, you know, setting up the lead page or the landing page, or actively rejigging that Chinese menu of options that you've actively got. So you need to be producing, progressing, writing, creating content, sending those proposals out. You still need to put time in for that, because I think what I'm seeing is that a lot of people are just doing connection time, and I'm coming to connection hour in a moment. So don't do that. You still need balance time. Follow up is actually the thing that is most hard for most people, and this is your perfect opportunity to practice putting follow up in place that actively works. And the way to do that is to put a me time only, working in my office or in my space, wherever that is. I mean, poor Ralph, his CEO is stuck in a studio apartment with 3 children under 10. So that's proving to be interesting. Yeah, right. In Paris, like so not even kind of, yeah, that's a tough one, right? But
I'm just going to pick up on Tim's comment as well. Tim says you might be tired because you're not getting as much exercise or sitting at a screen more. So watch your posture and your eyesight. 100%, Tim. We need to make sure that one time that we're allowed out on a daily basis to exercise, that we make it really beneficial. But what we've just done is we've just bought a dartboard. We've got a rowing machine here. We're doing all the things. We've got our virtual reality, so we can actually do our Beat Saber. We've got one of them too. All of those things.
So there are all sorts of things you can do, Tim. That's exactly it. So I'm going to jump to the exercise hour. Make the most of your exercise hour, but don't just do the hour of exercise. Actively do some stretching, do some movement. If you've got a standing desk or one of those funky kind of sort of extendable desks, great, use those. If you haven't, take a couple of boxes on your table and work standing for a while. Go on.
And FYI, Helena, my battery's running low on my iPhone.
I'll speak faster.
So I might die soon. So
okay.
can you just continue it on if I die? Okay. I can't plug my phone in.
So the delivery hour. So you need to be planning in. And so this might be the way that you actively work. So for those of you who have got things booked in, you need the delivery hours somewhere in your week. Set yourself a number of hours that you are going to work this week. So actively, if you say, right, I'm going to do a 32-hour week this week, and it is going to be split up over these different ones. So how many working hours have I got? How many delivery hours have I got? What am I actively putting in as, as exercise hours? How am I splitting that up? Connection hours are very important. So by connection hour, I mean, this is where you reach out to clients. You do the prospects, conversations, if those are coming at you, if you've got something going on that helps them. It's where you do your one-to-one hellos and the nurturing, the conversation, the questions, the letting you feel like a human that is in connection with others. And some of you are going to have high needs for this, and some of you are going to have lower needs for this, and that's completely fine. But work out what your median is.
The introverts, we're really good. I'm like, everyone's self-isolating. I'm like, this is what I do every day of my life. What's different?
apart from when I descend on her, which of course also works. So you want to be managing your time, and Kelly's just actually put in the links a live that we did around how to be productive with your time that helps you even build a planner in place. So that also works. I also invite you to put in a breathing hour or half hour in some way, shape or form. So what I mean by that is meditation, reading, supporting yourself somehow that allows you to connect just to you. So connection hour, if you think of that as external, and internally you want to be doing the breathing hour. What's going to allow you the space and time to accommodate all of this stuff. You need downtime, not just back-to-back meetings or back-to-back working or escaping in some way. This would be the escape for your soul. So I invite you to put some of that in.
It probably is a good meditation track with an Epsom salt bath with the door locked so nobody can come in and interrupt you, right? Like the kids coming in or whatever it might be. Just grab that time alone.
Now you know where Kelly's breathing hour is at, right? I have a particular sofa that I love to sit on and read in, and that's actually my little thing. And the dog comes up and cuddles, and that's my breathing hour.
And do what Tim says, please get out in nature, please do the exercise, please do the walking, because it's so important, and we're blessed with beautiful sunshine at the moment. So let's make the most of it.
Yeah, completely. So the final hour, so we've done the working hour, the connection hour, the delivery hours, if you've got them, the breathing hour. There is definitely scope for learning hour. All of us are on the learning curve at the moment, whether you are digitally delivering already, whether you are accommodating that, whether you are learning a new skill because that's actually what's required and needed of you. Absolutely. Or
we
even
learn chatbots, but I'm also learning Spanish by an app, which is great.
Yeah, which is really cool. It's good. I'm actually weirdly I'm practicing my Danish because my nieces are catching up to my level of language, so that also works. And of course, so the exercise hour is in there, but the last one I want to put in is what's your happy hour? We actually did online gaming as a group of 4 on Sunday, which was absolutely brilliant and amazing. You know, with a group of people that we would normally get together with and do board games with. Here at our respective houses, and on Saturday I'm attending a virtual pub quiz. So you know what's your happy hour?
And just so you know, Helene, I don't know if you've seen it, but the request in the hub is that we run a quiz in the Connection Hub. So I think we're going to be putting that together. And I could just see Dawn said last night that last night did that run over the bath whilst in it, set the alarm off, water pouring through the ceiling, parents' response, welcome home.
Nice one, honey. Nice one. Well, it's good to have you back in here. So basically, we're inviting you to make sure that your rhythm encompasses the whole of your life and isn't just about work, 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 because that can put you in panic mode and actually stop you working. And we don't want that because there's so much opportunity right now.
Yeah, definitely. So I know that we've been going on as we always do, and I know we're longer because we were late starting because of Zoom, but what we just want to say is that we've been talking to you for years about creating a portfolio business. A portfolio business that means that you have content both in written, speaking and coaching formats, so that you can actually not just cater for different learning styles, but also have it produced in different methodologies and ways to deliver. So that's why I completely applaud anyone that's in the same situation as we are, where you've got 60 to 80% of your delivery happening digitally, because then you can thrive in these times. And if you haven't, this is just a little, well, quite a big nudge actually, to go, okay, let's get some time to create this. Let's look back at the list of what Helena said of the various different ways to deliver digitally and pick one of them and look and see what's the best one for your avatar that they're looking for, not just from a content point of view, but the methodology that they want it to be delivered in. And then, you know, come to us in the Change Maker group, in our platform. We have deep dive trainings on how to create membership sites, how to create online courses, how to run webinars, how to run online group coaching. These are all the trainings that we are teaching people in there. So I've put the link in, but I'll put the link in again. What we do is we give everyone a free month to come and experience us. There's no contracts, nothing you have to pay. And you can spend the next month just delving deep into all of our content and accessing all this information to help you make the next step. So we really hope, before my battery runs out, we really hope that we've stimulated some ideas here, helped you with some structure, helped think about your content delivery style, but also we want to take you to the next step and teach you how to then create these things and deliver digitally.
For sure. So on that note, before she disappears, as if I'm we're just going to bid you a really good day. Stay productive, stay working. And yes, Tim, I am a closet geek. So we both are in our different ways. I might even snap a picture of all of the modern games that we've got. I'll pop that in the Connection Hub. Many blessings to all of you. Have a brilliant, wonderful week, and we will catch you many times in it.
See you later, guys.
Bye.